Welcome to Rekall Incorporated, Commander. What do two hypothetical bodies within our own solar system have to do with the lore and Elite's oldest video game mystery, Raxxla? All seasoned Raxxla hunters know that in 1984, when a player purchased their first copy of Elite, it came with a small book written by an author named Robert Holdstock. That book is called The Dark Wheel. Luckily for us, this small 8-chapter novella is available to read online, which I've linked in the description. In this story, we learn about Jason Ryder and his son Alex, who are on board Jason's ship, a Cobra named the Avalonia. They are descendants of a third-generation trading family, and in the first pages, we find them on a trade mission with something called Thrumpberry Juice in their hold. A mission that would see Jason Ryder dead by the hands of a pirate, which would trigger the introduction of a man named Rafe Zetter, an old friend of Jason's, who would mentor Alex on his quest to find his father's killer, and by the end we see Alex become the leader of the mysterious group known as the Dark Wheel. But not without the help of his co-pilot, a clone from Torge named Elysia Fields, and his ship named Nemesis, a Cobra like his father's. We know that Jason Ryder's death was likely attributed to his knowledge about Raxxla. It was Jason and this book that gave us our first mention of it. Now, why did Jason name his ship the Avalonia? After all, Avalon is a mythical island from Arthurian legend. It's commonly associated with healing, magic, and eternal youth. It's where King Arthur's sword Excalibur was forged, a realm far out of reach of mortals. Now let's look 146 light years from Sol at the Avalon star system. In this system, we find an imperial station named Persephone. Now, the story of Persephone, Demeter, Hades, and Zeus is one of the most famous myths in all of Greek mythology. It explores themes of love, loss, and the changing of seasons. Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, goddess of agriculture and fertility, caught the eye of Hades, who is the god of the underworld. Hades then abducts Persephone while she's in Nysa gathering flowers in a meadow, and he took her to his underworld to be his queen. Now, Demeter, her mother, crushed by the disappearance of her daughter, roams the earth in desperation, neglecting her divine duties, and as a result, all the crops withered, famine spread, and humanity's survival was at stake. Now, concerned about the plight of the world, Zeus, the king of the gods and Persephone's father, decided to intervene. He sent Hermes to negotiate Persephone's release. However, because she had eaten pomegranate seeds in the underworld, which is a binding act in Greek mythology, Persephone was compelled to spend part of the year with Hades and the rest with her mother. This is how the Greeks explained the cyclical arrangement and the symbolism of the seasons. When Persephone was in the underworld, Demeter mourned, and winter and autumn ensued. And when she returned to the surface, Demeter rejoices, bringing spring and summer back. In our ship's codex on the subject of Raxxla, we find a woman named Kore.
Kore comes home, soused and raving with wild stories, a new one every night. She claims she's found a map to some pirate stash, and all I have to do is loan her my ship so we can go dig it up. Maybe we should go find Raxxla while we're at it.
And when we look at the etymology of the name Kore, we find that it's somehow related to Persephone. The two names mean the same thing. And when we go to the Persephone star system, we find one lone Earth-like world, Kore, which should cement just how important this figure might be. Let's get closer to home and take a look at our own solar system, Sol. By the way, we just defeated a huge alien threat here that has been culminating for 10 years, and the Thargoid War finally seems to be over, at least for now. When we look at Sol's system map, we see that the very last planet is named Persephone, and we know almost nothing about this planet or why it bears this name. But we do know one very peculiar thing, and that is that according to the Elite Dangerous fandom page, Persephone was the 9th planet to be discovered in Sol. So the 9th planet was discovered after all. It even has a suspicious non-dockable orbital installation named Primary Transport Authority that orbits it, which could potentially implies something bigger at play. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the ninth planet and what it is a hypothetical body, often referred to as Planet 9, which is supposedly in the far outer reaches of our solar system. It was first suggested in about 2016 by a couple of astronomers that started noticing that there might be something in the far reaches of our solar system that was causing a gravitational pull on some of the bodies within our solar system, with estimates of its orbital period being about 10 to 20,000 years. Still to this day, it has never been discovered. However, in Elite, over 1,300 years into the future, it has been discovered. But let's now look back at Alex Rider and his ship Nemesis. Now, Nemesis is the Greek goddess of divine retribution and balance. She embodies justice and the punishment of hubris or excessive pride. She's often depicted with wings and carrying a sword, scales, or a wheel. Yes, a wheel. She ensures that no individual escapes the consequences of their actions. She maintains the equilibrium in the world and is closely associated with the idea of fate, serving as a reminder to mortals and gods alike that no one is above the natural order of things. This leads us to the last hypothetical body and soul, a star named Nemesis. The Nemesis star theory tells us of the existence of a hypothetical companion to the Sun. It's often referred to as Nemesis. The Nemesis star theory tells us that there is potentially a brown dwarf which orbits our own Sun. And just like Planet 9, it's doing this at a very great distance, potentially somewhere in the Oort cloud. This idea came out in the 1980s and was a way of explaining the potentially cyclical nature of extinction events that have happened on Earth. The thinking being that Nemesis is disturbing the Oort cloud, thus sending comets hurling into our solar system, increasing the likelihood of impacts on Earth. But like Planet 9, to this date, it has never been discovered. Now, if we go to the Momus Reach star system, home to the rare good, the Momus Bog Spaniel, a dog that is exceptionally good at hunting in water, we find the planets Nemesis and Pandora, along with a station named Tartarus Point. Nemesis, Pandora's Box, and the deepest point of the Greek underworld, where the Titans were imprisoned, Tartarus. So, the question I have is, if Jason has a ship associated with the ninth planet, and the ninth planet exists, and Alex has a ship associated with a hypothesized body and soul, does it too exist? I know that today's ship tech should provide us with all signal sources in any given star system, but surely there can be exceptions. Can there not? Oh, and the last thing. Why was the Nemesis megaship on scene during the firing of the Proteus wave?
To all humankind, this is salvation. Future generations will remember our triumph today.
Thanks for coming to Rekall, Commander. Shine on.